Kingdom Keys podcast.
Like I said, this interview was very silly, funny, and serious, and very insightful. This next set of clips is a key. This is a key to the kingdom, a key to have a listening ear to, whether it be celebrities, your parents, your friends, your pastor, me or Jimmy, is having an ear to what people are saying and their consistency as whoever they are, right? The consistency of truth. And so this clip here, Kevin Hart is commenting on one of the co-stars of this podcast, The Pivot, and he's saying, I don't knock people for what they're doing, right? When people do, they're doing their own thing, right? And so I'm just going to let you guys listen to it, and then we can go from there.
To swing, right? He said we should do it. And he wanted to do it because the other couple that he wanted to do it, the guy's woman was, he said she was great looking. I want to do it because I can get to her. It can be great. And I was like, dude, you're taking a gamble. I said, that's a lot. It's aggressive, right? It's not really my cup of tea, but I don't know how people live, and I don't knock what people do with their lives because that's your life.
So he's saying that, hey, I don't knock what you're doing, what other people are doing in their lives. I don't knock it. It is what it is, right? But on the same tongue, he goes forward and says, hey, it's not my cup of tea, right? You see how it's, you know what I mean? Listening to what somebody's saying. Well, you just said you don't knock it, but you just knocked it. Right. So we, and that's not saying that he's doing it on purpose, right? It's just that he's, being, I guess you would call it politically correct, or in his mind, he's thinking, hey, do what you got to do, but I'm going to say something about it pretty much. So he goes more forward in this podcast, and he engages more about what his friend did in the situation, and he buckles down. He presses into this guy's decisions in life.
All right, so you need to think of it all. Motherfucker, think about the first step. You better think about 3, 4, and 5. You see a motherfucking sweat dripping from his head on your lady. Yeah, that's a lot.
I don't want to see
that's that. Aggressive. Ain't no going back. So you need to ask yourself that.
But
right. So he's saying, hey, you better think about what you're doing before you're doing it. Does that not sound like, a believer to say, hey, man, you delving into that sin, you might want to back off, And remember, Kevin Hart was saying, hey, I don't knock you, but, and that's an appropriate way to confront somebody, to say, hey, do what you want to do. But the difference here is we wouldn't endorse that. Like we had previous podcasts, we wouldn't endorse you doing certain things as abortion. But hey, you do that, you're in the Lord's hands.
Right.
We wouldn't endorse you doing these other things, but hey, you're in the Lord's hands. So I thought that was very, very, very important. That is a key to the kingdom, to be consistent with your worldview, that the Bible is God's true word. Jesus has standards, and he wants you to follow